Buying your first home is a huge accomplishment, but if you aren't careful, you can end up making some pretty big mistakes that could land you in trouble. Money expert Limor Markman joins us this morning to talk about the do's and don'ts when it comes to buying a home. Thanks so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me here.
Great to have you in this morning because, as you know, our market is a little bit soft. So right now, for first-time home buyers, it could potentially be a good time to get into the market.
Yes, a really good time, and fortunate here in Calgary where the prices are a little bit more affordable for first-time home buyers.
So if somebody is sitting at home this morning thinking, I've been pooling my money, I'm ready to make this investment, there are some things that you're pointing out to maybe be aware of. The RRSP contribution, if you're maxing it out, there is a right way to potentially use that and maybe not such a great way.
Well, there's $25,000 that first-time home buyers can take out interest-free, and the tip really is for a lot of first-time home buyers, they have their bank of mom and dad or family helping them out with their finances, and if you haven't contributed the full $25,000 and you're getting a gift from your family, it makes sense to put that money in your RSPs first. And a lot of people don't think about doing that because you can get a hefty tax refund, which can be helpful when you're buying your first home.
No question. If you are using potentially the bank of mom and dad and they're going in on title with you, what should you be aware of there?
Yeah, so if your parents are helping you qualify for the mortgage, they will in fact have to go on title. So what you want to make sure that you do is have a conversation with your lawyer, because you can actually split the title 99% 1% rather than 50-50, so that when you sell the home in the future, you won't have to pay tax on the capital gains, but your parents, if they helped you qualify, they would have to pay tax, and you do not want to have that surprise come up later on.
Okay, that's really important. This is something that's interesting and maybe not as applicable to our market, but waiving a home appraisal.
Yeah, so most people put in a financing condition, but in some of the hotter markets in Canada, to try to even secure a first property, people have been waiving that. And with some of the softening that we've seen in other parts of the country, it's been really tough for buyers because the financing hasn't come through. And so if you have waived a financing condition, you can find yourself in a tricky situation. So the easiest way is just make sure that you put in a financing condition and do not lift it until the lender has approved that you're getting all the money that you're expecting.
Okay, and you've seen this more commonly in Toronto and Vancouver, not so much in Calgary.
Not so much in Calgary here because, the market's a little bit more stable rather than some of the crazy chaos we've seen in other parts of the country.
Absolutely. Talking a little bit as well, when you're thinking of going into your first home ownership, there's a lot of things that can pop up and surprise you, which is part of a new course that you are actually going to be offering.
Yeah, so it's called Home Purchasing Secrets, and essentially it's a 6-week online course to help first-time home buyers because, even though you've got the numerous professionals, you want to make sure that you're choosing the right ones. It's the biggest purchase of your life. You do not want to make a mistake, so folks can find out more about the course at homepurchasingsecrets.com.
What's the most common question that people come to you with, especially for those first-time home buyers?
Yeah, I think one of the most common questions is it a good time to buy? Is the market going to crash? Am I going to lose my shirt? And I think really the answer is when it comes time to buying your first home, it's not about timing the market. If you're doing investing in real estate, that's another story, but it's about you and your life. Are you ready to move in with your life partner? Are you, ready to get out of your parents' basement and, really make the plunge? But it is a big purchase, so for folks to be properly secure and protected and know what they're doing, which is why I've really put this course together.
And is there certain factors that you encourage people to look into when they're examining where potentially to buy their piece of real estate?
Yeah, I think the piece of real estate and location has more to do with your lifestyle again, but that being said, you want to make sure you always have a home inspection so you understand what repairs need to be done. It's also a great way to be able to further negotiate. People don't know that once you've got a firm offer, if you still have the home inspection, you can see what in fact is wrong with the property and you can go back to the seller and still negotiate. So less about the location and more about the actual property.
All right, some great information. Thanks so much for coming in this morning.
Thank you.
And if you'd like more information about Limor's course, you can follow her on Twitter at Limor_Markman. Thanks again for coming in.
Thank you, Amber.